We're here, and we have a very special show for you tonight at Drum Channel. We often have people on Drum Channel who are at the heights of their career, and we have an aspiring young drummer whose career is flourishing for him. We have a drummer who's at the top of his career, but it's not necessarily playing drums at the moment, but that's something that's in the background, I think. Will Power is with us. Will, thank you very much for joining us. Cole Marcus is here with us. Will's a new friend of mine. Cole's a longtime friend. For those of you who don't know, won the 2018 Indianapolis 500 race.
That's right.
We're going to talk a lot about the commonalities between getting behind the drum set, getting in the cockpit, and what Will likes about drumming too. I'll let you finish the introduction of Will Hill.
The 2014 INDYCAR champion, as well as you're coming up on 10 poles away from being the highest, pole-sitting driver in INDYCAR history.
Yes, yep.
So
chasing Mario Andretti.
Chasing Mario Andretti for the most poles in history, which in a sense would make you the fastest driver in INDYCAR history.
That would be pretty cool. I mean, honestly, Mario is the absolute hero of mine. So just to be up there with names like AJ Foyt and Mario Andretti is just amazing.
Speaking about other heroes in the drumming community, what drove you into the area of wanting to learn how to play drums? Is that something that came way before driving, or?
It actually did. It came when I was a kid. Well, I was actually in high school, or even before that, I was primary school. And the first time I heard that beat, just the basic, I was like hooked. I thought, that is so cool. And, and I was a kid playing in the concert band. I was playing trumpet. And I would go at lunchtime and start playing the drums, listening to what he played. And then I didn't play for a long time, and I was kind of, you could say, unemployed in 2009. And the team I drove for the year before in INDYCAR, my data engineer was a drum teacher. And that's when I started back up again. But I've always loved the drums. It's just such a cool instrument.
And that was right around the time that I met you, when you switched over to Team Penske.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
In 09.
In 09, yeah.
And Helio Castroneves was driving at the time, and you filled in for a couple of races, and I was introduced to you by Mike Conway, another fellow race car driver, and he said, there's a guy over here who just started playing drums. You might want to go talk to him. That was about that big at that point. But.
Yeah, that's right. I remember meeting you, and I couldn't wait to actually hear you play. Yeah. And obviously looked up some of your videos. Just amazing. Obviously, thanks, for me, man. Because I'm not a professional drummer or anything, but I love doing it, and I appreciate the guys that are just, some of these guys are just, it's just unbelievable. Well, I know the intricacies that go into it.
Mm-hmm. Some other drummers are interested in other things, and a lot of race car drivers are interested in drumming too, from what I understand.
Yes, I know a bunch of guys that play the drums that are race car drivers.
So at various points of your career, of course, just like you said, you did aspire to some of the great race car drivers of all time. Who are some of your favorite drummers that you would like to play along with or meet someday? Yeah,
I mean, just guys like Dave Grohl. I absolutely love Dave Grohl. Jimmy Chamberlin, obviously.
Jimmy,
Cole.
You mentioned you like the way he bounces.
Yeah, he's always on the hi-hat. All those songs, they're all with the hi-hat. That's really cool. And Buddy Rich, watch a lot of his videos on YouTube. Obviously, is just a legend. And there's so many. Travis Barker, I love watching the energy that he puts into it.
No, the energy's it,
Drumming is a little bit of a safer career, I found out, because you've had a few broken bones in your career as a result of just, that's part of life, I guess, in your occupation.
It is. They improve safety all the time, but for sure, racing, you just got to know when you're getting in that car, there is a chance. And you minimize the chances by, obviously, racing for a good team, you're more at the front. There's always a chance. I mean, that's something you got to switch it out of your mind when you get in the car.
But is it the same? I know, talking to some of the best drummers in the world and being blessed to have known many of the best drummers in the world, when I see them come in here, there's obviously a point at which they went through the mechanics of learning how to play the instrument. And then when they're here, they're not thinking about any of those mechanics. I mean, is it just as intuitive when you're sitting in the cockpit of the car? You're not thinking about what I'm going to do on the next turn. It just it happens naturally.
Absolutely. absolutely. You know, I think it would be the same for drumming. Like, yes, you get to that point where it's just not even thought. It just flows for you really well, and just you get in a groove that just feels so natural, and things seem to slow down for you. That's very similar to driving, but you continually strive to learn. I'm still on that learning curve, and I've been racing for more than 20 years. You know, I'm coming towards the end of, you know, last 5 years of my career probably, and I'm the best I've ever been. You know, I'm almost 40, and I continue to learn, and I feel like that would be the same for those you know, lifetime drummers, some of those legends. I mean, and it's just endless. It's actually funny because in motorsport, you know, you have to do that a lot yourself because you know, you're in competition. It's a very competitive sport, but you just love to sit down and talk about the, you know, some of the technical styles of driving that you can have. There's so many. And, you know, I think I could see that being a drummer. It's not a competition. It'd be really fun. You guys must sit around with other drummers and just talk about obviously different stories. Yeah, exactly.
That's it, man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It'd be so enjoyable.
In the throngs of a race, are you more thinking about, I'm just going to do the best job I can wherever I am? I mean, it's a competition because there's a winner and people who don't win at the end of the day.
Yeah. You know, you're not going to have the best car every weekend, and you're not going to win every race. So it's just a matter of doing your best in the moment every time, and, you know, getting into that nice rhythm and kind of letting it flow, not too tense. I mean, it's.
You really obviously can't afford to make a mistake. They say if a drummer makes a mistake, do it 3 more times right away, and then everybody will think, well, that was something really cool.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
Here's my drummer tip for you
guys
for today.
Yeah, you can cover mistakes really well. For us, it's like off into the wall. Nothing I can do. I can't make this look good.
No. Probably new to you, we have one of your favorite drummers was actually a race car driver at one point in his career when he was not in the band. So I thought maybe you'd be able to talk about, you know, his experience as an amateur race car driver who is a professional drummer, and conversely, your experience, you're becoming a drummer, and then you're a professional race car driver. So check this out. Jimmy Chamberlin, I want you to meet Will Power.
Oh, you're kidding me. So cool.
Hey, Jimmy. So, I was talking about and introduced you as the drummer who was a race car driver. We have a race car driver who's an aspiring drummer. We know what he thinks about your playing. One of his comments he really liked is how you're always keeping your hi-hat going on 8th notes all the time. He thinks that's the coolest thing. But what do you think of his driving? That's my question.
Yeah, incredible, and congrats, Will, on another great season. Obviously,
Thank you.
Laguna. I missed the Laguna Seca race. We're doing some remodeling in the house, so I kind of got sidetracked. But I keep a little bit of an eye on the INDYCAR stuff. I'm more of an F1 guy these days. But how was Laguna Seca?
It was actually it was a really good race. I started 7th. I finished 2nd. Actually, I had a great battle with Colton Herter at the end there. It was fun. It's a really old school track for us, so we were all pretty stoked to race there.
Yeah, I never made it out. My team, we never had the budget to go that far west, so we stayed pretty much on the eastern part of the tracks, Daytona, Road Atlanta, Sebring, those tracks, but never made it out to Laguna. But always wanted to drive the corkscrew.
Yeah, the corkscrew is a crazy corner. It actually, in qualifying, it cost me this weekend. I just nipped an inside brake and made a big mistake, unfortunately. But that is a tough corner. You literally turn in. You can see the first apex. You don't even know where you're going to land. So you kind of land, and then you're situated wherever you are. So, very technical corner, a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, it's great to watch too. But
I never knew that you were a race car driver or you did some racing.
Tell everybody about your history a little. Most drummers might not know that.
Yeah, so I raced in 97, 98, and a little bit in 99 with Jack Baldwin, actually. We raced a Pontiac Firebird in an IMSA series called Motorola Cup.
Oh.
It was kind of the B League to the 24 Hours of Daytona. So it was Endurance racing. generally like 4 to 6 hour races. And we would generally race like the same weekend as 12 Hours of Sebring or 24 Hours of Daytona. So we got to race all those great tracks, and I got to co-drive with the great Jack Baldwin, which was really made me seem like an incredibly horrible driver. We would co-drive, and I would bring the car in after my stint in like 20th place, and then he would bring the car in first place, and then I get back down to 15th, and he'd get it back up towards the top. But it was super fun. I mean, I think like speaking of blind corners, if you've ever raced Road Atlanta, like coming back the back straight where you go over that right hander and then down the hill, right? That scared the crap out of me. And and when we were warming up, we would always do lead and follow. So I would be trying to follow Jack, and he would just be on the radio like, "Why are you driving so slow?" And I would just be like, "Because I man."
That's awesome. Yeah.
That was super fun. I still love it. I mean, I still have a 911 and still, try not to get too crazy on the roads, but we do a few track days here and there. And it's like drumming though. If you don't do it all the time, you just lose it. Right.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the thing for me. Like in the season, I don't have time to be drumming. So I understand. I got to the point where I understand like all the intricacies of it and how bad I really am. You know what I mean? Like the further you get with something, it's like driving. The further I got, the more intricate it gets, all the little tiny details that count. And I kind of see that with drumming. Like it's just, just a lot of similarities.
No, it is extremely similar, and that's actually how I got roped into it. I mean, I'd always been a race fan, and I was down watching Jack drive the Aurora at, I think it was the 97 24 Hours of Daytona, and we ended up at a dinner together, and he was just pumping me question after question about drumming, the athleticism of it, and I was explaining to him that it was a lot like racing, in that small movements can mean a lot in terms of how the song feels, how things push and pull. And, we started to get pretty granular about racing and apexes and weight transfer and those types of things and how it related to music. And Jack, just in a moment of weakness, said, man, if you go get your license, I'll drive with you. And I was like, I don't think he thought I was going to take him up on it, but I called him like 2 months later and said, hey, I just finished my 4-day course at Bondurant and got my license. You ready to go driving?
That's how you started. No way. That's awesome.
And a half.
That's great.
Which was amazing. But it was a lot, where you're saying like a little motion and a little movement here and there really will make the difference between doing a corner right and doing the corner wrong, or playing a chorus right or playing a chorus kind of wrong.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny you're saying that, the feel of the wheel. Like I really use the feel of the wheel as a tool to understand where the car's at and what attitude it's going to sit at in the corner, just through the weight feedback you get through it, which I guess is similar to you guys with the sticks. Would be the same thing. Is it very much?
I think it's very similar in that drumming, you want to be loose with the sticks so you're not choking out the drums, right? So you're letting the sticks kind of breathe. You're almost letting go of them when they hit the drum. If you're playing, like a Moeller technique, you're kind of throwing the sticks at the drum kit. And when I first got into a race car, your instinct is to just grab the wheel, right, and shift really hard. And as you know, like the more you learn how to play, or the more you learn how to drive, the more you're feathering the wheel, you're letting the car do the work, you're letting that information kind of come back through the wheel into your fingertips.
Yes.
And, especially like the couple races we did in the rain, where it really comes into play, where you're really feathering and trying to do everything in kind of slow motion so you're not jerking the car around. It's in that respect, I think it's super similar to drumming.
No, that's exactly right. Like, it's amazing, like in my older age now, I'm not going to say I'm old, I don't want to tie here. As far as race car drivers go, how relaxed I am on the straights now. I remember I used to get so fatigued in the race because you're like, holding on, but now I literally almost let go of the wheel, and then, as the grip goes down, because we haven't got power steering, you're just, fingertipping the wheels. It's exactly the same thing. It just got to let it flow, like you say, let the information come in.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
it's fun. I mean, I think, and again, you've got to, I remember, I think my first race was at Sebring, and coming down the back straight and looking down and realizing, back then our top speeds were between like 165 and 180 if we were on the tri-oval at Daytona. But thinking like, man, this is really fast. And then after a year of doing that, you're thinking like, man, why won't this thing go faster?
Yeah, speed doesn't actually even register anymore. Like even in Indianapolis, you're doing 240. It's not even about the speed. It's like, all right, how do I set up for this corner? Which direction's the wind going? It's not even a factor. Yeah, but everything slows down for you, I feel, as you get to a point where it almost becomes subconscious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I gained a whole new level of respect for NASCAR guys after racing at Daytona a couple times. Because you get on those banks, and when you hit that corner full speed, and you see that your car starts to move a little bit, and you see that wall getting closer.
Yeah.
You're like, that's no joke, man. And I mean, when you're putting, your right front wheel, 6 inches behind somebody's rear left wheel, I mean, that's insane.
Yeah,
I talked to Monster Jr. one time at a dinner, and he was saying that really the difference between like the top 10 guys and the rest of the pack was their ability to confidently place their wheel where it would make the most difference in their car dynamics as far as like turbulence and everything else, and also trusting the driver in front of you not to do anything, not telegraph his next move, so you're going to get into some type of accident.
Yeah. Well, that is a big part, is actually understanding the air in our cars. Like, if you can understand, obviously the air comes off the car, it's a nasty wake. It's like like a boat leaves in the water, and being able to place your car, like get half a car here, and the wake obviously spreads out like that. So the closer you get, the smaller the wake is, and the smoother it is. It's exactly right. And then side drafting, where you put a wheel just almost an inch off the guy. Those speeds, it's.
As I hear you guys talking, it's funny because I'm superimposing in my mind you talking about a drummer and how he works in a band. We could replay this, and you could almost put in the word drummer when you're talking about race car. About how, Jimmy, how you're explaining how sensitive it is and how much you have to listen and how close you have to be. You're saying to the wall, I'm saying to the bass player, how you have to react back and forth to one and the other. It's just it is awesome.
It is, yeah.
Wanted to ask too about the importance of young drummers.
Don, not to interrupt, but I've driven with you before. Just remember, I've driven in cars with you before, so I know that you drive like you drum.
I don't know if that's a good thing or not. The question I've got is some of your mentors, the importance for young drummers. Here, Will is looking up to you, Jimmy. The drummers you looked up to, and the importance for young drummers to be able to go back and look at their influences. And we have another generation here with Cole.
Yeah, I mean, I think, for me, it was a lot of, my dad played clarinet, so my first exposure to, any type of, demonstrative drumming was obviously Gene Krupa, Dave Tuff, Buddy Rich, Sonny Greer, those guys, Papa Joe, there was a lot of Basie and a lot of Goodman, a lot of Ellington playing in my house. And then I'm the youngest of 6. So, as I kind of went down that lane and got more progressively into jazz and then later rock with my brothers and sisters, I got into more, Roy Haynes and Elvin and Tony, and was just, I just really was interested in that type of drumming. I just found it incredibly emotional and incredibly it just moved me as a young kid. And those are the type of rock drummers that I kind of gravitated towards as well. The Ian Paces, the Moons, those types of players, the Bobby Caldwells from Captain Beyond, who I still love. Cozy Powell, guys that were really Mitch Mitchell, guys that were really kind of jazz influenced, but were really able to lay it down in a rock context. I think the main difference I see now is that drumming when I was young, and not to date myself and say, oh, when I was young, but it was very much a listening experience. Like you sat down and you listened to things, and then you went to your drum kit and you tried to replicate them. And oftentimes you would end up seeing that drummer play those phrases later and realize that you had been replicating them wrong, or you developed your own way to do it. And I think that really fed into at least my generation of drummers having a bit of their own identity just for no other reason than they learned how to do things wrong, and it became a bit part of their vocabulary. I think now drumming has become a very visual endeavor, where you can go, like, we couldn't go on YouTube and watch John Bonham play triplets, or watch Elvin play triplets, or watch Tony do the quick right hand hi-hat stuff and watch his hands and see what he was doing. And we just kind of had to guesstimate that stuff. So it was more of an auditory exercise, whereas now it becomes about this kind of visual mimicry. And at least for me, it becomes less about listening, right? And I think, Don, you and I talked a lot about, the how and what is right there for everybody now. But oftentimes I think what could be missing is the why, right? Like we made choices to play things based on how they struck us emotionally. And, when we latched onto a drumming phrase, it was because it moved us in an emotional way, and we wanted to play it because it sounded cool, right? And now I think there's a little bit less of that and more about there's all these linear phrases that I can kind of latch together, and these are incredibly difficult to play. But I think the question remains, as it always does, are those musical choices, or are they kind of, calisthenic choices? Or are you just doing things because you can do them to be, some kind of, drum acrobatics versus like playing a consistent narrative, or being accountable to the other people in the band, or accountable to what you're playing. And again, I mean, I'm not saying anything about, modern drummers versus older drummers. I'm just saying that, that's some of the things that I notice, and not to say that. I think one of the good things, and I'll make this short, but one of the good things is the instrument has been brought forward in incredible leaps and bounds because of that. Mm-hmm. And I think now when you see guys like Mark Juliana or Antonio Sanchez, the guys that have taken that stuff and really put it into a completely musical context, you see kind of what the potentiate of that type of drumming, when you couple it with an emotional destination, can be. Does that make sense?
Yeah. There was a lesson right there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jimmy, I can't thank you so much for your time today. And do we have some surprises here on Drum Channel, right?
I was not expecting that. You have been one of my favorite drummers from as early as I can remember. I've been trying to learn how to play. I can sort of play cherub rock. I've been trying to learn how to play, but to keep that hi-hat going while you keep everything else going. But
I'd be happy to meet you at any racetrack with a set of practice pads if you come with a race car. So
deal. Have you ever done any karting? We could do that.
We can do that. I got to get on that.
Yeah, he's a karter too.
We'll work something out.
So we got a challenge going on here.
Absolutely.
We're going to give you a few months to get the song together, and we'll see what happens here on Drum Channel.
Do that.
Now you've got some goals set. We got to hit.
I don't know whether I can convince Penske Racing to let you drive an INDYCAR.
That's all right.
It will blow you away, but
I couldn't drive a foot, to be honest. It's so funny. It's so funny, Jimmy, because about two, maybe 3 years ago, I was doing an interview with Will, and he asked me, he's like, "Do you know Jimmy Chamberlin?" and I was like, I haven't met him yet, and he's like, "Could you make that happen?" I'm like, "Sometime, yeah." And so thank you so much for coming on with us. It's really appreciated.
Really cool.
Don is all powerful in the drumming world. So Don's arm is very long. He can reach out to the entire drumming world and grab whatever he wants.
And he reaches our hearts too, right?
It's such a fun thing to do. And Jimmy immediately and I was a race car driver too. I said, "Oh God, that's right, absolutely."
I had no idea. That's awesome. He's a race car driver. That's cool.
For all the drumming community, let me tell you, I'm glad you are back in your drumming chair, because I heard about how many broken backs Will has had in his career. So
right. No, I know it's so much safer where I'm sitting. Well, relatively speaking, but
yes, exactly. Good way to wind up.
All right.
Thank you so much, Jimmy. Yeah, I'll be in touch. We'll talk soon.
Awesome.
You got it.
All right.
Cheers.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Jimmy.
Yeah.
Nice surprise, huh?
Wow.
So-
Man, I can't believe that.
And you guys could
That's
talk
amazing.
the race car talking talk.
Yeah.
Can't get better than
That was
that.
crazy. What was the chances? And you were just asking me about Jimmy Chamberlin when we first sat down.
Well, we set that
I
up a
was
little
saying-
bit ahead of time.
Yeah,
As
yeah.
soon as he told me he was one of your favorites, I haven't talked to
Yeah.
Jimmy in about a year, but he was,
Oh, wow.
are you kidding? I would have
Don literally
You're his
appreciate
idol.
that.
So it's like
Yeah.
the mutual
If
admiration
anyone had said that Jimmy Chamberlin knows who I was, I would have been blown away. I can't
Come
believe
on,
that
everybody
he knew.
knows who you are.
Oh, no
Jeez.
way. I would never have thought. I actually went to dinner with Slash once. No, I
Okay.
thought that
Oh,
was
really?
pretty cool.
Yeah,
I was in
yeah.
Long Beach.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. And he
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
called me when I was in the hospital and I broke my back.
Oh,
But he's not going to put me in Guns N' Roses. So.
oh, bummer. Well, maybe we can have him let you
Hey,
sit
listen,
in
you're
once.
hanging here.
At
As
least
I
once.
mentioned, Chad Smith would have loved to have been here today, but he's actually in an airplane on the way back from some foreign land. He doesn't land until 10 o'clock. He said, "I'm going to be there Tuesday." I said, "No, you're not going to be here Tuesday." But the door is wide open. You're welcome to be here. And we can have a lot of fun doing things as we go down the line here.
Oh,
Yeah.
So-
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
And now you've got your practice routine set because you've got to come back and play that song.
I'm going to have to be able to play Cherub Rock by the
Yeah,
time
you
we go.
gotta
I'm
do
pretty,
it, man.
pretty close. I'm pretty close. I just got to...
Well, shoot, bro, I can help you with that.
Yeah, you could definitely help
Yeah,
with
yeah,
that.
yeah.
It's just those triplets he puts in there in one of the
But you already
fills.
said it's
No way.
triplets, though, so you already know where it's at, man.
Yeah, right.
It'll be a no-brainer.
It's so important, I think, for kids to experience music, you know. And how do you feel just your wanting to be involved, especially being a drummer, but being involved in music, enriched your life and your kids? And what would you have to say out there to young drummers that are aspiring?
Yeah, I mean, I just think music is just such a, you can't really put your finger on it, and I know for me when you just put the headphones in and play along to a song, it's just, you're really so much in the moment at the time, but I think it's just so good for your brain, like to actually learn an instrument, like the drums.
Absolutely.
And it teaches you a lot about discipline and commitment. Coming back and practicing every day, trying to learn something. I think for a kid out there, the younger you start, the better it is. You think about all the greats in the world at anything. It's when you're a kid. So
Yeah, and it's interesting because I haven't done much outside of go-karts, but I've been karting since I was a little tyke,
yeah,
and for me it was the same sense of escaping that I get when I play drums, where it's kind of like you're on the track, you're secluded, you're by yourself. Even if I'm on the stage and there's 10,000 people out there, and there's a bunch of musicians on there with me, I'm still in my own space though.
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
kind of like the same type of thing.
it's a great feeling.
Absolutely,
it really
it
is.
is. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a great feeling. There's just many lessons that you learn about life in music. Whether it's learning a song or escaping, learning to be in the moment. It's you can't put enough emphasis on like how important I think it is to learn a musical instrument as a kid.
As a driver, did you have teachers along the way where you would look back and say, there was a moment where, whoa, now I get it. I see what...
Absolutely. The first teacher for me was my father, who was a race car driver. And I remember an instance where I think I was 17, and I was racing around this track. I went out, I did a run, and he goes, "Wow, you're doing 57s," which was a great fast time. I said, "Well, I haven't even tried yet. Wait till I go and try." Went out, tried 58, so I was slower.
Yep.
I said, "I don't understand. I was driving so much harder. I'm slow." He said, just back everything up, let it all happen and be smooth. Straight down to 57s again, even 56s. That was my first lesson on, backing everything up and really thinking about not just, be like drumming hard, really stiff.
It's totally the same thing, yeah.
Yeah, and then I had a great teacher when I was racing in England, which, was just an aha moment on a certain driving style, the way to drive the car, very free, and we call it loose. Call it loose over here. When you put any wheel in, it wants to step out in the rear, but if you can handle that, it's faster. But it's motorsport's gone way more that way, where there are more driver coaches and we have a lot of data available. Like we can come in and you can see exactly where you're slower or faster compared to your teammate just from data. So technology is making everything compressed. Everyone's good now. Everyone knows how to be good. It's just a matter of practicing it.
But it comes down to, I think, the same with a drummer. You can certainly take a look on the grid and see just where your beat is falling on and off the beat and what you're doing.
Yeah.
But to make it feel good, it's got to be something that's just flowing through you at the time
Yeah, and there are a
you're
lot
doing it.
and there are a lot of the same mistakes that some drummers make, where they think, if I grip the sticks and if I hit as hard as I possibly can, well, then I'm not going to get carpal tunnel.
No, you've got to be
That was a joke.
relaxed. I mean,
but yeah, it's totally the same thing where some people think, if I play harder, I'm going to keep better time.
Yeah.
Or if if my arms are moving really into it, then it's it's a really bad habit that I've seen develop over a lot of people. And it's kind of like what you said. It's like the same way that
Relax a bit.
it's all
Well,
about
it's got to
being
flow
relaxed.
for you. Obviously, when you're initially learning something, it feels awkward.
Sure.
And then the more you do it, the more fluid it becomes, and then it becomes like subconscious almost.
relaxed is a key word, I think. But again, of all the great drummers we have on here, when you look at them play, as much as they're hitting really hard, they're totally relaxed. Otherwise, you will get into problems. That's part of the Spivak method I was talking about, or being able to study with Freddie Gruber. Looking at Buddy Rich. When you look at Buddy Rich up close is the DVD that I just gave you.
Yeah,
You're going to see, especially if you look at it in slow motion, you'll just see it bouncing like a basketball almost.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
I applaud you for your spectacular career. And he's
thank you
one of the
very
most
much.
humble and one of the
Thank you.
nicest guys you would ever meet.
Yeah.
And thanks so much for helping us facilitate this and get this together.
Absolutely. I'm glad that
guys
you're
are-
able to come out here.
You guys
Ah,
are
man,
good friends. Yeah,
I
and just
couldn't wait.
again, just finished a race, got in the car the next morning, and here I would think it would take you a week to recover after that.
I'm tired, but I'm good. To get to play drums with Cole and
man.
get to be on the drum channel.
I'm almost recovering from watching the race yesterday. It wiped me out just watching
you
it.
watched the race?
Yes,
Oh, cool.
absolutely, of course.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, I was
Yeah.
I was standing up
Yeah.
there at that last lap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
that
close.
was intense.
It was
Yeah.
like an intense battle. It was good. Yeah.
But the hard thing, it was like there's no matter what, there's good news and bad news out of this race, because as much as I wanted you to win, you wouldn't have been able to be here today because you'd have had to
Yeah,
do press. So I'm
well,
like-
yes,
so I'm like,
exactly. I was going to try get out. Even if I won, I was going to try get out of it to come here.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was trying to. I was going to be like, look, I didn't win the championship. It was just a race, and we can use the footage from here.
I've
for
got
drums calling me.
I've got things to do at Drum Channel.
Yes,
right?
yeah.
Like, what?
Exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, you're more than welcome. This can be
Yeah.
a second non-racing home for you.
Oh
We'll have
yeah,
a lot
I'll
of fun with it.
come back when we race at Long Beach next year.
Absolutely, you
Fantastic.
should. Yeah.
Will, thank you so
Well,
much.
thank you so much, Don.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. As
Yeah.
always, Don.
You never know what's
Good
going to
stuff,
happen
man.
on Drum Channel. Right, Will?
Absolute surprise, a very awesome surprise.
We'll see you next time.